The universe managed to create us out of thin air. Well, after many other situations that the universe did for us to get in the position that we are right now. Meaning that some million years ago we did not even exist, and there was no idea of such existence or human existence in general. And the thing is that I don't think that was planned. It was just a coincidence in a way. And I'm saying this in the sense of we're just this universe's continuation when it comes to how it is made, how it's distorted. I don't know if that makes sense. But the thing is that eternity basically managed to make us, and that can be considered a gift for us. And I think that a very great idea for us to basically appreciate is, of course, that we managed to exist. And we managed to adapt until this point, right today, right now and today, basically. And we have made civilization, we have made art, we have explored, we have basically read and made research upon all forms of life, basically, we humans, other forms, like other animals, physics, chemistry, the universe itself, the stars, all those things. Humanity has almost documents for everything in this world, and we are still upon it, upon researching this place. And so the thing is that with this perception, it's just like we not antagonize exactly, we're basically trying to look upon with a microscope everything that's around, including us, and including the things that we do not know even exist, concepts, let's say, theories. And so we were made to do this, and probably no other form of life as we know it can do that. And so the interesting part in all of this is that we have extremely concentrated consciousness that allows us to either make civilization and basically make languages that we are able to speak with each other, and we are able to make concepts with words and explain other terms that are going to help us describe other terms that do not yet exist. And at the same time, we can make things more fun in the sense of just making some games or just making fiction or fantasy, whatever, and entertain ourselves. And so what I want to say with all of this, as humanity, we basically continue to exist until today because the species were alive, basically enough so that we can reproduce ourselves, to basically continue our species to exist, right? And so, what I want to say with this is that for every individual who has their own consciousness, basically, the beautiful thing in all of this, ironically, is that this time, unfortunately, it is limited. Unfortunately or fortunately. And the thing is that we as humans, I believe, we tend to take the things that are eternal and forever there, let's say, are the ones that we take for granted the most. For example, the ground, the sky, the stars will always be there, and essentially there's no need to think of them a lot. And so what there is for us to think a lot, our lives here, basically, our own existence, our quality of life, our decisions that can be made from now, for now, and 5 years later, basically, we're gonna know approximately the outcome of that decision that we took now. For example, being able to go to college and basically graduate, right? And so the thing is that what I want to say with all of this introduction, essentially, is let's just not waste time. Meaning that there are going to be moments in our lives that we necessarily have to do because of this culture and because of this way of living. Basically, doing some work that you do not really are particularly interested in. But at the same time, I'm basically a guy who's guilty of this in a way, because even though I'm a guy who really loves to play games, and either there are board games with other friends or video games by myself or just walking around and making my own thoughts, essentially. The thing is that video games, for example, can be considered to be a complete waste of time for many people because it is not so productive, and the games can be extremely addictive because they're so awesome, and their visuals and the gameplay and all of it. And ironically, I started to have a lot more appreciation for them because I had a completely different perspective on them. In the sense of, it's just like a really great book that can be basically written and stay there forever. And even though reading may as well change your brain in a way more positive ways than I can really count right now, basically it's really healthy for you, cognitively especially. And the thing is that video games, for example, can describe a story that I may as well find it to be magnificent and amazing, and can describe a message that movies or series can basically describe, as well as having a parallel game to play along with that story, essentially. I now see them to be extremely interesting for me, and even though some years later or even some months later, I would think of them to be indeed a bit of a waste of time. Because it's just a game, you're not doing anything productive, but now it changed completely my mind. It can be considered to be a media that completely can change your point of view in a world or in a topic that we basically have in our own today's lives, for example. How people interact, how people change in circumstances, whatever. And so I thought of myself that probably I wasted a lot of time doing things that I should be not doing. And that's the good thing, in a way, that the human mind, that if we use it properly, may as well produce us thoughts and encouraging points of view to continue doing something that you really damn enjoy. Because essentially, if you really find something that you really damn enjoying, well, as long as it is not so damn harmful to you, I suggest you continue doing it. Because if people find things that they're really damn enjoying, that they find things that they're really made of doing. For example, I think that I would love to play tennis for the rest of my life. And I won't stop learning about techniques, about the gameplay, about how hard it is, and so on. And I don't think I'll ever stop playing it. I won't stop spending time on it. And it's not something that I think I'm going to regret. And so, based on that, I think I've been guilty sometimes to basically say, you know what, I think I should be doing something much more meaningful or productive. And I think that's the thing that makes me waste, that makes me go do things that I think can be more productive, but at the same time I enjoy less, or I found less valuable in my life, basically. And so, yeah, that basically made me think of something that I really enjoyed, like games, for example, to basically not enjoying them so much, and I didn't really enjoy the thing that I'm supposed to do that's more productive either. And I'm saying, okay, let's flip it around. Let's just enjoy everything, right? Find ways to enjoy the things that you find to be more interesting, more important, and more valuable to you. And at the same time, just have some fun. Why damn not? And the point of this video essentially is just, okay, I'm trying to say, okay, let's just not waste time. But at the same time, you cannot really know how to spend your time on meaningful things unless you try a lot of things that you do not know how they turn out to be for you. And so, what I am trying to say essentially is that we are going to have eventually some time wasted, so called, because you're being trying to figure out what is worth it and what isn't worth it. And that can be considered to be important for other people and relationships, or for other activities, or for jobs, or whatever. And so that was my a little bit philosophical way to just say, you know what, let's just not waste time, but at the same time, let's find ways to spend our time as we wish. And I know that I've made a video some months ago that basically said that time is to be wasted, and that is exactly basically what I'm describing. That time is for us to figure it out. What do we really want? Who we are? What is interesting for us? And what isn't? And I think that this comes along only with making a lot of attempts, basically figuring out what's important and what isn't. And so there seemed to be a pressure that, are you doing something important or something of value, or are you just wasting time and you just have to try harder, you have to do something more healthy and productive, you must read more books, you must exercise more, whatever. Yeah. Those things can be beneficial and beautiful for you. And sometimes I do love to allow some of those things in my life. For example, I've been working out insanely hard lately. And the thing is that I'm doing it now in order for me to be more stable and much more powerful later, in a way to have a stronger body so that I can have much more stable and good life in general. And so that is a reason why I believe I'm never going to not be basically in shape, or at least I'm trying to be the best shape I can possibly be. And so reading, I used to read a lot earlier years. And that was because I was basically running through the same concept that, you know what, don't waste time, educate yourself, learn and grow, and all those stuff. And the thing is that it is going to be a great waste of time, basically having your own life going away like this, because I think I've fallen into this trap in a way. I was a guy that basically tried to make decisions that, you know what, what's going to save most money? What is going to make me avoid trouble? What is going to be the wisest choice possible, and etc., etc. Except that sometimes there is always a wise message in a stupid mistake. And I basically have a small fear into basically not experiencing some stupid mistakes that I can do, in the sense of I'm not going to have the experience of it, in the sense of that I am going to have less experienced life in me. And I think that makes me avoid some aspects of life in general. For example, I don't really think I have very, I'd say, successful relationships with the other gender, for example, with the ladies. Not exactly because, not exactly in general, not because I have something in particular with him. It's just that I thought myself that there was always more important things for me to deal with. For example, I am a guy who loves trying new things every now and then, who love basically to exercise, and I've been trying a lot of sports. For example, running, basketball, football, and now tennis, for example, and table tennis. Or basically trying new types of gymnastics or exercising, CrossFit, for example, or then calisthenics, all those things. And after that, essentially, relationships, friends, how to communicate more, how to find more great, amazing relationships. And in that particular section, I think I've made my decision for the most part. Imagine. And I mean, come on, there are going to be more people for me, I believe, out there, simply because I think I'm gonna make relationships with people extremely interesting, because I'm interested into other variations of people, other ways of thinking, and all of that stuff. And at the very end, if it just doesn't work, it just doesn't work. Let's just have a typical life, a typical relationship, and just say that's the best we can do with some people that we don't really have much in common or a lot of great chemistry, let's say. Beyond that, I think I can be a great relationship. I can make a great relationship with almost anyone when it comes to friendship. And so, all those things for me always took some priority when it comes to women, for example, or with the ladies. And that is again not because I am snobbing them or I just reject them or whatever. It's just that I thought other things were more important until now, where some years have passed and I'm still in a way in a spot when I would really love to be in a relationship in a way. Anyways, and so I think that to avoid this, basically, I think for myself, and you can do the same essentially, avoid my mistake, essentially, try not to be too much in your head, because when you think more, you do not really experience the person or the situation in front of you, one. And that the second is just to stay away from screens and stay away from social media and stay away from the nonsense and all the craziness that the world may as well be in. And just try to have a regular day. And just out of curiosity. Because I think also that what this world lacks, again, is just that there is no space or time for us to basically experiment and really realize what can be potentially important and valuable. For example, a sport may as well be the most important thing to someone who's completely alone, basically haven't found anything. And when he or she basically follows that sport, that person may as well find other people inside that. And who knows, if he or she is very good at it, he can or she can basically rise more and their lives completely change or nothing. We don't really seem essentially to give a lot of opportunities for us, and I think that's kind of lost in the everyday dullness. I think that the world is basically is headed on or is already in. And so in a way, just like for me, sometimes video games and basically other reading or doing whatever I wanted is a form of escapism. We basically need another form of escapism that basically is going to be for the thinking, for experimenting, for just spending time wasting it. And ironically, that waste of time is going to be potentially a complement to your overall time. Just because you decide to do, hey, you know what, why not? Just have the childish or maybe the childlike curiosity of this could be fun, this could be whatever, exciting, right? And just like that, who knows? If you give more chance to yourself, you may as well spend your time finding the time that you wanted to spend the most on that. And everything could be history. And so that was my cute little video for today. And ironically said, just don't waste your time in the sense of just thinking about how to spend your time, and doing nothing potentially by itself can be a waste of time. So essentially waste your time in the sense that you think it's going to be fun, and if it's not fun or productive or whatever you find to be important, just leave it back, because at least you tried. And who knows, you may as well find an amazing thing to deal with after that, and you can change your life just because you have the curiosity. But that's the thing. I suggest also you decide to be a bit more creative and let yourself loose, because in the end it's all just a game. It's all for Lila. Anyways, that's gonna be my video for today. I hope you like it. You can tell me what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Thank you once again.